Hello, my name is Ripley. Welcome to the video.
What's up, schmucks? It's time to review our favorite show on this channel, Big Mouth. Honestly, I love being able to review this show every year because even though I hate the show, I get to see how much I grow as a creator each review. It's great. Starting back in 2019 to here we are in 2021, I get to see how I've grown and what needs to be improved on, and it's actually kind of fun. It's like a consistent milestone of reviewing Big Mouth, and I get to see what am I doing right this time, what am I doing wrong this time, because as we're going to come to discuss, this show is pretty much the same every time, so in a lot of ways, I'm just repeating myself every year. Therefore, the video kind of feels mostly the same each time, which isn't my fault, that's Big Mouth's fault. The show should innovate if it doesn't want me to say the same criticisms every time. But anyway, that's not important. Also, I have a podcast, check it out, the link's down below, blah blah blah, you're gonna love it. Anywho, let's get into it. So Big Mouth is back with its 5th and hopefully final season, and just straight up, you guys know I hate this show, but this season, man, there's nothing. There's nothing here. This season is bland and boring to the extreme. It took me a week to get through it, and if it weren't for my notes, I wouldn't remember a thing about it. But yeah, anyway, let's get into it. As normal, I'm gonna start with what's good and what I liked, and then we can move on to my criticisms. First up, I genuinely enjoyed this season more than the last one. However, the bar is so low that isn't the praise that you think it is. However, this season does have a few things going for it that I actually did like. For one, this season opts to not bring up any real world or current topics for discussion. Not a single attempt at real world commentary. My dogs are barking. Not a single attempt at real-world commentary, which is for the best. The show tried to do that with the last 2 seasons, but consistently failed to say anything meaningful on those topics in any regard, making it a waste to even bring them up in the first place. So off the back of that, they don't even try to do it this season, which again, I'm not complaining. If you have nothing to say, don't say anything at all. And because of that, it makes this season a lot more in line with seasons 1 and 2. This season sticks to dealing with what this show was designed off of, the concept of middle schoolers growing up and dealing with whatever it is they deal with. And this season introduces some genuinely creative and clever metaphors and allegories for things like love, jealousy, and hatred, along with bringing back other metaphors periodically, which creates some genuinely creative imagery at moments, even though those moments are very brief. And I say it every year, but Maya Rudolph is this show's saving grace. Her performance as Connie is consistently funny and the only thing that gets a constant laugh out of me. And that's kind of it for my praise. So what is bad this season? Pretty much everything else. Like I said before, this season drops the real world commentary and goes back to its roots and essentially tries to be a standard sitcom, but it's not funny or interesting enough to pull that off. Sitcoms mostly thrive off of their characters. Their plots, yeah, but mostly the characters. They wouldn't have made Friends for like a decade if everybody hated the characters.
Whip it out, whip it out!
However, with that said, the characters in Big Mouth, they're bad. They're not diverse or dynamic or interesting or particularly well written, and they all just settle into
haha, we're kids and we like to masturbate, haha.
It's nothing. It's just not interesting anymore. And it's a stretch to say that it was ever interesting. You could argue that it was entertaining, but it's not anymore. As for a specific character, Nick, he's the worst. He is just awful. Even if it's by design, he absolutely sucks. Each season he sucks on purpose just for him to learn a lesson in the end about treating his friends and his family better, but then in the next season, he sucks again. So what's the point? He's the worst and I hate him. They also throw Christian Shaw into this season and I hated that. I love her, big fan, she's amazing, but I hate that she was in this filth. She's better than that. This season also pulls a, for lack of better terminology, a Lego movie, and you'll know what I mean if you watch it, or if you have watched it, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But yeah, they go for it and it doesn't work. It's too meta, but it also doesn't make any sense because these characters in this show is constantly meta, so it just stumbles over itself and it isn't funny or interesting or creative, and it just made me deep sigh and want to slam my face into something. This season's biggest sin is the same as the last one. It's boring. It's just unfunny sex joke after unfunny sex joke with way too much swearing for 30 minutes. Then they copy and paste that 10 times, they put it out there, and they call it the new season. That's it. That's what you're getting here. And I know some people are on board with that, but for me, I like things that push boundaries. I like things that take creative risks. This show does none of that. This show offers you nothing. And like I said earlier, the problem with reviewing this show is it's so repetitive and bland every time, it's hard to criticize it year after year without sounding like a broken record. All in all, this show sucks and this season sucks. Even if it has a handful of decent jokes and some interesting ideas going for it, it cannot compensate for the stale formula, overpowering amount of unfunny jokes, poorly written characters, and just a general sense of boredom each episode will leave you with. Please go watch Bob's Burgers or Adventure Time or BoJack Horseman or SpongeBob or Rick and Morty or just something better than this. Please and thank you. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.